That was the chorus to Traveling Light, one of the singles off of Bootblacks' upcoming album Thin Skies, which will be available everywhere tomorrow, October 9th, courtesy of Artoffact Records. Bootblacks is a post-punk band based out of New York City and have been making music for a decade. The band's founders, vocalist Panther Almqvist and guitarist Ali Gorman, are the only two remaining original members. But along with Barrett Hiatt on bass and Larry Gorman, a veteran from the hardcore scene, on drums, Bootblacks are on the verge of releasing their third full-length album, Thin Skies. This will be their first release with Artoffact Records. I catch up with frontman Panther via Zoom to chat about the new album, the weird and wonderful music videos they've been putting out, as well as what the post-punk goth scene looks like right now and where things are going. I apologize for the quality of the audio on this one. We had some connectivity issues, so Panther's voice kind of fades in and out in some parts. But if you listen carefully enough, you'll understand most of what he's saying. Here's my chat with Panther of Bootblacks. All right, man. Well, how has your COVID been so far?
I don't know. It's been weird and awful and strange, and I don't know. I've had a big range of emotions about it. Yeah. New York was kind of the epicenter for a long time of it. So
yeah, I know. Yeah,
it was pretty weird in those early days when it was the full lockdown, and obviously, like, doing music, that's just not a thing we do anymore.
Yeah.
and I'm super depressed and anxious about when that's going to come back, and I don't know when that is, or I don't know. It's just all that uncertainty. So it's been an emotional roller coaster, but I think that's for most people, right? I mean, yeah. I'm not alone, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely something we're all feeling together. Have you picked up like any new hobbies or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm actually learning Swedish.
No way. I was gonna ask about your last name. So, are you of Swedish descent?
Yeah, my dad was from Sweden, and so I have that half of my family over there. So yeah, it's a good time to do something like that, and it would be. My grandmother doesn't speak any English, so it's kind of been a goal of mine to talk to her. So I try to use this opportunity to do something productive besides video games and other things like that I usually and still waste my time on.
Yeah, for sure. What system are you gaming on?
The PS4. I've dabbled in a lot of games, but it's been good escapism, and I besides the second language stuff, I've been trying to read, and just hanging in there like everybody else.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. How did things affect the band? Were you guys like busy getting ready for a tour or anything like that?
Yeah, it was, we were having the album come out this year, so we were actually going to be on tour with Modern English.
Oh, nice.
It was going to be a full US tour, and that was really cool for us because obviously, like, just their music had a lot of influence on, I think, our music, and I don't know, it's kind of partly the soundtrack to my childhood as well. So
right.
It's going to be, I thought, an interesting, cool experience. And that was a big chunk of the year. And yeah, we had stuff lined up, the whole year, basically on and off tour. So that's not a thing. And but we've actually just gotten back to practicing because.
Oh, nice. That's great.
Yeah. So that's good because at least if we're not, doing shows or anything, it still feels great to play music in a room with other people. And I'll tell you, it's the longest I think that I ever not played music since I was a teenager, and I didn't realize how loud it is.
Oh yeah.
Because I think your body gets used to the kind of physical abuse of the sound waves and shows and all that, but if you've been kind of isolated for a long time, you're like, holy man, the drums are so loud.
Oh yeah, dude, I totally get that. I just went to an IMAX theater to go watch Tenet. And,
okay, how was it?
Well, exactly what you're talking about. Like, I felt like physically hit by the sound, and like came out of there like kind of shell shocked. The movie itself, gonna have to watch it like at least 2 or 3 more times to understand what the hell is going on. It's very confusing.
proper Christopher Nolan. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like he's definitely like gone back to what was the one with Oh my God, the guy covered in tattoos. That was like basically like went backwards in time the entire time. The
Oh,
whole
Memento.
Memento, exactly. Yeah, it
Yeah.
kind of reminded me a lot of that in terms of like the what the hell's going on. So I'll definitely have to watch it again. But I know what you mean. Yeah, just like not having been around anything loud or big or grandiose,
Yeah.
and then that seeing that was a crazy spectacle.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how these things. I don't know how you or all of us adjust to a kind of a whatever we're in, right? So it felt weird at first, but now I guess I'm just kind of used to it. So all these different rules and I don't know, and people's keeping distance and stuff. So
Yeah. Are you still in New York City or in Brooklyn, I suppose?
yep.
Yeah.
I'm the sole survivor here. The rest of the band is out in Long Island, so I've been in the mix the whole time.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was wondering. I was wondering why. I was looking up some other interviews, and I was wondering why you were not with the rest of the band. So that makes sense. It kind of looked like you were out in LA or something. It was like beautiful
Yeah.
and like sunny and stuff. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm the singer, so I like to maintain that sort of aloof.
Yeah.
No. I'm originally from Los Angeles, so I traveled, and that was another, speaking of COVID thing, that was a weird thing. So,
Oh, wow.
I got on an airplane, so.
How was that?
You know what? It was, I wish travel was like that all the time. First of all, there was nobody there. You get your own seat in your own row. And they load it from the back, and no one's pushing past you to put your stuff up. So it's actually kind of ideal.
Oh,
But,
sweet.
I mean, obviously not that we're all in this sort of anxiety-ridden world and people are dying, but besides that, it's a pretty cool system, yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, a buddy of mine has been wanting to like. I'm based out in Toronto, and one of my friends has been talking about going out to Vancouver, like
Yep.
since things went crazy, because Vancouver was pretty lax on all of their rules, and they started doing shows and stuff again, at least with like under 100 people. Which is now they're regressing now back into like phase 1 or 2, or like that's not allowed
Right.
anymore because the numbers just got so bad. But yeah, he was
Right,
talking about
2%.
flying, and we were just like, what are you talking about? You can't fly right now. And he was like, I'm gonna go do it, and he did it, and yeah, he was fine. But he did end up actually getting COVID, not because of that, but just because he was a bit too relaxed with everything.
I thought, I was like, no, it's been long enough already.
Yeah.
Have it, but yeah. Interesting. So he got COVID. I actually don't know.
He got it. Yeah, I know. I have, funny enough, I have someone I know that lives in Brooklyn, and they were like kind of they were the one that they sent me that documentary that was going around that this is all like a hoax and everything. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then I spoke to them, and they were just telling me some stuff, and I'm like, it just sounds like you've been locked up in your apartment too long, and I think you're just going stir crazy.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a real thing.
Yeah, no, I'm not on the side that it's not. I just, it's weird for me because at least I've been taking the subway, and I've been kind of trying to test my courage, not because I want to up my chances to get COVID or trying to be risky, but I do think there is a little bit of like deep-seated anxiety that's kind of got built in. So I'm trying to kind of test myself a little bit more and be what I think more reasonable.
And come back to some sort of like normalcy, right? Like I think that's what everyone's craving is just, I really just don't want this to be like how stuff is from now on. Like that would be awful.
Yes, and I found myself getting strange little pieces of anxiety where I've never had that before.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I better test myself a little bit more.
Right. So. Cool, man. Well, let's talk about music. Let's talk about the band and the album. So Thin Skies is, correct me if I'm wrong, is this the third or fourth album?
It is the third album.
It is the third. Okay, third official album. First one of Artoffact Records.
That's right.
Coming out on October 9th, a couple of weeks from now. How long have you guys been working on the album?
Well, that's kind of a weird, I guess over a year, but it hasn't been direct work. So it was recorded last year. So like late spring, early summer of last year. But then we were on the road for almost the entire rest of that part of that year. So
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like we were in the studio nonstop for all this time. And also Jason Corbett of Actors, we were on the road with him most of the time as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So it was kind of recorded, and then it kind of sat back a little bit, and then got finished in the fall of last year. And then it was going to be released, I think, in the spring, but obviously everything changed. So so it was recorded over a year ago, but
Okay.
a lot of other circumstances have kind of dictated when it came out.
Yeah, of course. What was it like working with Jason in that respect, having him be the producer? Is this the first time he's worked with you in that, like, on that level as a producer?
Yeah, it was the first album we did with him. I mean, I can't say enough nice stuff about the guy. I mean, he's my friend. He's a wonderful person to be on tour with and all that kind of stuff. And he also happens to be a great producer. So
yeah, he has a great ear.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of these people where I truly like kind of can't believe I know someone that talented. So when he wanted to do it, I mean, of course, that was not much of a decision.
Right.
So and we already had a friendship and a rapport and inside jokes with each other. So it was a very cool, relaxed record. And plus, he just kind of gets our sensibilities and our style. And he's a huge influence on the album, not just sonically, but putting in parts and coming up with suggestions. So it was a really collaborative effort, and it was wonderful. I can't say enough nice things about it.
That's great. Did he bring anything like weird to the table, that you like, a new way of recording something, or just anything that you wouldn't have thought of trying before and that really worked out?
Yeah. Well, first of all, he embraces this kind of idea of like doing things live, right? So not a lot of going back and editing. Now he uses a lot of cool equipment that I embarrassingly don't know enough about.
Okay.
But really cool, pedals and analog rack stuff. And he's really good at kind of manipulating the effects and the production in real time. So rather than, getting a good take and then kind of going back and, doing, the echo or the reverb or the delay retrospectively, he does it live a lot of the times, which is so scary to me, but he obviously knows what he's doing. So yeah, that was a totally different way of recording for me. And it was great.
Cool. I also know this was Larry's first time recording with you guys. So Larry's the newest member to the band, the drummer. In another interview, you all mentioned that he brought a lot because of his background in hardcore music.
Yeah, Larry's been in so many bands I can't even name. He's a kind of he's a veteran of the New York City music scene and came up in hardcore in the 90s. But he's also he's just a crazy good drummer. He can really do anything. So yeah, it was a totally different kind of album to write with him. So I think there's a noticeable difference in the kind of intensity of the drum style. And it's great to have him. I mean, he's married to the guitarist in our band, so
right.
So we're pretty familiar with who he is. So
right.
It's not like he was a stranger that kind of got introduced. So it was a super easy fit, obviously.
How long have they been married for?
I don't want to get in trouble if I get that wrong. 6-7 years, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And then how long did it take for him to become part of the band, or at least get more involved?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've in the band, the kind of the core of the band's always been Ali and myself, and we've had people in and out, and we've had departures and guest spots, and and we needed a new drummer, and she just happened to be married to an incredible drummer. So
right, okay,
who also went on tour with us, and obviously knows everything about the band. So it was kind of a again, a no-brainer.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
cool, yeah.
It's like if you're looking for a guitarist and you're married to Eddie Van Halen or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So why wouldn't you just use that connect?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You think you can handle this? Yeah, I can.
Yeah, for sure. Have you been able to? Well, I guess you haven't really been able to shop the new album, or at least perform the new album live. I did see the live video that you guys did for I have it written down here.
This, that was
for the Infest Stay In Festival, which I want to touch on later. I do want to go kind of like talk a little bit about each music video, just because my background's in film. So we'll touch on that a bit later, just because that was honestly one of the most impressive live performances I've seen come out in the last few months. Just
thank you.
Audio is normally terrible and doesn't really sync up, or there's just buffering issues, or it just looks like it's shot on an iPhone, and it just looked so good. So I want to know how you guys did it. So we'll get into that.
Mission accomplished.
Yes, mission accomplished for sure.
That's my complaint too. Well, we can touch back on that, but
So the album itself is incredible, man. I've listened to it a bunch of times. I literally since I've gotten my hands on it, I have not stopped listening to it. I probably drive my girlfriend a bit crazy. I really wanted to know, what track are you most proud of on the new album?
Wow. I don't know. Can I plead the fifth on that? I don't know, because
you could give me a top three. How's that?
Okay. Well, I like Hidden Things a lot because that's a little bit of a departure for us from the last album, because it's more of an electronic track. Now, I like all the songs, but I think, and I would probably also say Inextinguishable, the last track on the song. It's again a departure for us. It's kind of a big, I don't know, it's the closest we've touched to stoner rock or something like that.
Right, yeah.
But and it's got some kind of interesting production twists on that. And I like Brouhaha actually, just because I think it's just a total weird pass for us. You know what I mean? It's something that was not in the wheelhouse. I don't know if that's what people typically like themselves off the album, but to me, those were the most risky of the bunch, so that's why I like it. Actually, New Lines I like a lot too. Probably all the stuff that actually isn't out.
Yeah. Well, that's what it sounds like so far. Which one are you looking forward to performing in front of a crowd? Obviously, the whole thing. But is there one that you're like, I don't know how we would do this live, or?
Probably Traveling Light, because we that's the one we recorded for the Infest, the Stay at Home Infest, and it felt great. So that's the only one that I got a little bit of a tease doing that video, so I'm pretty anxious to try that one out. Yeah.
Cool. Can you tell me a bit about the album cover itself? I thought it was a very interesting cover. You have that desaturated rose sitting on top of that like black crinkly paper of the red reflections.
Yeah. Well, that's an artist friend of ours. Her name's Jen Black. She's actually a person that we've kind of just met along the way through mutual friends in Berlin, actually. And when we were getting it together, she's a cool, talented person. So we just kind of pitched it to her, and I think she did a great job. I really can't take any credit or knowledge of that. I just the kind of the whole idea with this album, with a lot of the stuff, not just from the audio production or the artwork, was we tried to just reach out to creative friends in our community and just kind of let them rip. You know,
right.
I always thought, you know, in the past, trying to over control an aesthetic or do this kind of, you know, like grand idea about how things should look or be done. This album's truly collaborative in every sense. Like, we really just, all the videos were reached out to friends and just kind of told them to do what they like. And I think it's cool because it's a mixed result. You know?
Right.
Good mixed result.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely is. It definitely, because I was listening to your catalog, and this album does definitely sound different but the same. It's obviously still the same band, but if you had to tell someone how this album differs from what you have put out in the past, how would you describe it? I
would probably say it's the collaboration. That this is the first time where I got out of my own way. You know, or collectively as a band we got out of our own way, and I think it's just a much better reward when you kind of put yourself in the hands of people you trust that are creative. And so, yeah, I think it sounds like us because, you know, I guess we have forged a sound over the years because, you know, we're different people and have different influences, and that's what happens. But as far as just making this album, it's been a really great experience to just kind of work with other people. Right. You know, not be so insulated about an idea or a concept that, you know, either sinks or swims. But I think this is a good album, and I'm proud of it for those reasons, you know. So many other people want it.
Do you remember what what your reason was for saying let's try and do it differently this time? Let's try and have more hands on deck for this. And
Yeah, I think that, you know, yeah, maybe if you're your own worst critic, so to speak, but when we were, starting up and kind of working on the album, right when we were just writing the songs, is that I realized that I felt the things that I disliked about the previous records. Not that I dislike them. I don't want to, disparage myself, but just the process was that, it was just about what we were doing, and I just thought, God, we know so many talented people that are so good at these things. Like, it just, I think a lot about like music history. So,
Mhm.
and I would see these kind of scenes and groups and these kind of great artists all hanging out together, and I would get kind of sad because I don't know if I feel a lot of that now. I feel that often bands are kind of competitive with each other or insulated, and I just sort of I would think about those kind of communities back then. You'd hear like, oh, this person guested on this album, or this person
Mhm.
contributed this, or it just seemed sort of romantic. And I thought, well, why can't it be like that?
Right.
and I think the answer is it can.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so so yeah, we did that. I can't imagine myself going back.
Cool.
I think that's the best way to do it, and not just for the product, but also just like for the experience of having your friends there. It
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Just doing stuff with friends for sure.
hmm
It's
yeah,
yeah, it's always so rewarding, especially if you have creative friends, is working on a creative project with them, because they'll generally just bring stuff that, at least I know this when I'm working on video stuff, they'll bring stuff to the table that I've never considered, and it nine out
yes,
of ten times ends up being the best way it could have gone. You know what I mean? So it's I
yeah,
see what you mean with that. I wonder if you felt that gap with not having that community. Maybe I wonder if that has to do with just a lot of the genres, a lot of those things, like those communities were fostered because those genres were kind of being created at the time, right? Like, I'm thinking more specifically for me now, I'm thinking like the punk rock scene in New York City. Everyone was carving out this new genre and it was all exciting and stuff. Do you think maybe it's a bit of like, well, the genre's kind of been carved out and now we just have so many artists and bands in this genre, so like there's more of a competitiveness instead of there being this community love and like, let's just like make the coolest shit together? Do you think that could be something?
yeah. I do. I think you're right. I think a lot of that stuff was being, speaking of Chris Nolan, there was an inception period.
Right.
But you read books even going back to the '60s or whatever, like Keith Richards' life, and he's like, we were inventing what a rock star was. I mean, not
Right.
even just the music, but even the
The
persona and the
lifestyle.
lifestyle. And I think you could extrapolate that to every genre.
Hmm.
They're sort of, they're kind of pioneers in uncharted waters or whatever. And I think, yeah, they held on to each other because that you need that kind of sense of community when you're taking these risks or you're doing these things. And I do think, and this is not to throw too much shade on the scene now, but I do think that there's less risk taking in a lot of uh, the music, and I think a lot of the genres are well established.
Hmm.
And I think that, and also the economy of music has changed.
Yeah.
Like
Drastically. Yeah.
not just record sales, but how venues operate and things like that. So I think a lot of that has disrupted those kind of, for lack of a better word, scenes or communities, and it just doesn't operate like that. And I
Hmm.
mean, that was one of the main things Jason and I would talk a lot about just as friends, that we both lamented that feeling or that kind of lifestyle not being around anymore. And it just kind of occurred to, I think, both of us, and separately,
Hmm.
that, like, why can't it be like that?
Right.
People tease us about, oh, you guys show each other so much love. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with that?
Yeah.
I
There's
don't.
nothing wrong with that.
I'm not in competition with anybody, and so I don't know if this is, I'm like Don Quixote or whatever, being overly naive or romantic here, but I don't know, whatever. That's what I want. It was definitely a very happy and fruitful experience. So I'm gonna keep forging that path.
For sure. Yeah, I think you should. I definitely think you should. I think it just leads to the best product at the end of the day.
Yeah, and also just a better mental health. I mean,
better
I
mental
think
health, right?
yeah, because I think we, it was, not to be on too much of a tangent, but social media and other things in our life, like we get too used to comparing our lives to other people's, and
Hmm.
so I don't know, need less
Yeah,
of that.
definitely. Yeah, real human connection. Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, like I said, I wanted to jump into the videos that have come out.
Yeah,
So everything kind of like kick-started with that hilarious infomercial like you guys
yeah,
did. Whose idea was
yeah,
that to do like that silly infomercial style announcement video?
yeah. Well, do you want me to comment on the infomercial? I mean, I'll comment on the fact of, like, this is not going to be a breaking news, but we're, collectively we like to joke around, and we're,
Hmm.
as a band, and as humans, we don't take ourselves that seriously, and we like to laugh, and we love stuff like that. So that video is a direct reflection of kind of our collective personalities.
Right. Cool. That's awesome. I got that vibe.
Okay, good, because yeah, we're not in the lane of being, removed cold artists, because that's just, we're not like that. So we're just
Right.
like, you know what, we think this is funny, lean in, and I'm
Yeah.
glad if anyone got it, made him smile, then that's good.
Yeah, it definitely did. It made me giggle quite a bit. It was, yeah, it's just it was also so unexpected because I find your music to be quite serious, and at least
Yeah,
it sounds serious and stuff. And then for this
yeah.
visual to come up, I was like, what? Yeah, it
Well,
was really cool.
I don't want to paint it wrong. I am a, whatever, a quite depressed person at times, and I I do want art to be impactful, but also,
Hmm.
like, come on, let's not take ourselves too seriously all the time.
Right,
Whatever.
right. So yeah, then the second video that I saw that came out was The Jealous Star.
Yeah.
I couldn't see in the credits who made that one.
Uh, I should probably credit the person. That one is, I'll be honest, that one was just something we used an animation for, because the kind of goal with the goal of the album was that we wanted to put out something to have a visual accompaniment to every song. So there will
Okay.
be a video of some type for every song that isn't a lyric video or the album cover. So that was something that we just kind of whipped up. So
Okay.
I should, probably be a better person and know who did the original animation. But yeah, we basically just re-edited an animation to kind of fit the flow of the song.
Okay. Yeah, because I,
Yeah,
I was I was looking at it. I was trying to figure out because it's very like distorted and also
yeah,
looks a bit hand drawn. But the closest I could get to figuring out what it was, it looks like back in this must have been on like maybe Windows XP, maybe 98, like the Windows
right.
Media Player visualizer. It looked like
Uh-huh.
if someone had just put that on and then just like frame by frame like drawn it. It looked like that because there was a lot of stuff happening there where I'm like, I remember that. Like it like just like some nostalgic part of my brain just like clicked and I was like, I remember seeing this. I saw this somewhere before. And then it just looks like that, but like a cartoon. It was very cool.
Yeah, it was an animation that we bought from an artist,
Oh, okay.
whose name I should know. Um, so maybe we can do some post audio here, and we'll drop it in. No,
Yeah,
I don't.
do some
But
ADR.
yeah, it's an ADR. Yeah, that's it. It's like, but yeah, and that's for the reasons you said though. That's the reason I was attracted to it, because I don't know. I just thought it was something interesting,
Yeah,
to
it
look
is.
at.
It is. Yeah, it's very cool. And then, so the next three to come out. So we had Nostalgia Void, we had Thin Skies, and then obviously the live performance, which I think I'm going to touch on separately, just because it's very different from the first two.
Yeah.
Who is Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas. Oh, I hope I'm going to tell him to listen to this, because he doesn't get enough credit. Michael Thomas, or MT to us, is a very good friend of ours. He's actually originally a friend of Barrett's, but he's just, he's one of these people that we're lucky to know. He's just a friend of ours that doesn't do music videos. He
Okay.
doesn't. That's not his forte, but he just happens to, I think, be really good at it. So
Okay.
yeah, he's a person who's a creative person that we probably count on too much, because we're always calling him up to do more stuff for us. But yeah, he's just kind of it's just one of our friends. It just happens to be a creative person that he can always whip up something kind of cool in a pinch. And I don't
Hmm.
know, we're lucky to know him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
He's had his hands on on a lot of the videos, right?
Yeah, well, a lot of the photos as well.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah.
What does he do if he doesn't make videos? Because he should be doing that. I hope he's doing something better.
He always jokes around that we're going to get him into the music video business, and he doesn't want to. So he goes, I don't want to do that. I like to do it for you. But what he does is he actually makes prosthetic masks and movie effects.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's Creation X, and that's his handle on Instagram. Yeah, you'll see that.
Follow him. I know who that is.
Yeah, he does like mostly horror stuff. He does reproduction work and molds and a lot of stuff like that. And yeah, he's done stuff. Yeah, he's done special effects stuff, and so yeah, he's just a person who, I don't know. He's got it. He's got a gift for it, but he's ours, so
yeah.
So no one else is gonna get him.
Right on. Okay, yeah. Well, let's talk about the live performance. So, Traveling Light. So, I know this was for. Let me just make sure I shout out the festival. So, this was for Infest Stay In Festival.
Yeah, Infest, the kind of long-running, legendary industrial festival in London.
Tell me about the venue. Firstly, it was very weird watching the walk-in, because it looks so similar to. Oh, I guess the layout is very similar to so many like clubs and event spaces, but it looked, just even the decor and everything looked very similar to a Toronto bar, to the point where I was like, is this Nocturne? Like, I thought Nocturne closed down. That's so weird.
Yeah, but he snuck into the country.
Yeah. So yeah, tell me about the venue.
So the venue is St. Vitus, and St. Vitus is it's kind of like it's a little bit of a home away from home. What's the expression? I blew it. Home away from home.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. And yeah, it's a great kind of medium-sized venue here that I don't know. They've hosted, I think Paul McCartney played there with the Nirvana reunion. They've had these kind of, they have shows from people who are just getting their feet off the ground, young kids, or bands that are starting, and kind of all the way up. So it's one of the closest things that we kind of have in the city that's akin to like CBGB or something like that.
Gotcha.
And they've always been just great people to us. So when we wanted to do a live performance video, because that's the landscape of the world we live in now, that that Twitch streams or whatever is the only way people can kind of consume any form of live music. We wanted to do it there, just because it is just a place that's near and dear to our hearts. But the intro to that was intentional. That was something, you kind of touched on, like how these live videos are shaping out, and I thought, well, first of all, I want to show that the place is empty. Like let's lean into the idea that there's nobody here, because to me it's like it's a better record of what's going on, rather than what looks like an iPhone video in a rehearsal space or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know, I wanted to really be like, hey, this is remember this place that you love? Yeah, we're here, it's empty, let's go. Yeah. So
cool. And then I know Michael again had a hand in this. He co-directed it. I did not write the other guy's name down. I'm so sorry for that person.
Yeah. I think that's okay. That's Rob. He's a friend of MT's, a friend of ours. So he came in there and pitched in and helped out. He's a guy who does creative stuff. He makes board games actually, and does graphic design and stuff like that. So it's just two guys who have a good eye, I think, and and they're our friends, so we get them on the cheap.
Right. How much of a team was involved in putting that together? Was this and it was a live stream, right?
No, it wasn't a live stream. It was we record, but the tracks are live.
Yes, live off the floor.
Yeah, so it was edited later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that makes sense. Yeah, that's why I brought this up. Is just like you said, you're seeing all these like Twitch live streams, and there's been a couple of just like the stay home music festivals, and it's usually just the artist in their bedroom with a guitar, and it's just their phone, and like it's anyway, it was just refreshing to see something nice like just, good quality visually as
Yeah.
well as sonically.
Yeah, no, that was a big goal of ours. I'm glad that you noticed that, just because I thought, man, I'm a music fan, but you have to have an extreme tolerance to watch some of these things.
Hmm.
It's like, because the part of live music that's exciting is not just that it's live. It's there's some sort of there's some sort of energy to live
Hmm.
music. I think that's why we
Absolutely.
want to collect in these spaces. And so I was like, the video's got to feel like that, because
Hmm.
that's, to me, the only reason to get as close as you can to recreating that experience.
Right.
and
Right.
and watching a iPhone videos, for me, is not that.
It's not that at
But
all.
hey, more people who watch those things, they are the more truer music fans than myself, because that
Right.
that requires that requires a love and dedication
Yeah,
that
for
I am
sure.
just, my ADD cannot handle. So everything in this band is geared towards my low attention span. So if I'm bored, then I figure someone else must be bored. So
Right. I want to touch on the latest video, and probably the weirdest one from the bunch that I've seen, the one directed by Miss Meatface, Hidden Things.
yeah.
How
Uh,
how awesome was that? That was just so cool. I actually,
yeah.
it's funny enough, I knew about her before, and
Mhm.
when I saw the video, I was like, oh, this reminds me of this, and I looked it up on my phone. I was like, yeah, oh, it's the same person. Made sense. How did that collaboration come about?
Well, we've known her for, personally, probably 15 years. I
Oh,
know
okay.
I know I know her before she kind of developed this, um, you know, a kind of persona, but also more than a persona. I think a kind of like aesthetic endeavor.
Hmm.
Because I don't think that it's kind of just, it's not run of the mill latex, S&M stuff. It's, she has a very kind of, I think, considered aesthetic. And
Hmm.
so, speaking of people that we know and trying to have these collaborative things, I was like, I just think I love the way that her aesthetic looks. So we just asked
Hmm.
her if she'd make a video, and she did. That was it.
Cool.
And again, we like a lot of these things we don't really have a hand in and don't want. So we just sent it off to her and said, I think this is a cool song that,
Right. See what you
would
can
match.
make for this.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Man, that's takes so much, like just giving away that creative control. Especially you
Yeah.
touched on it before that you were maybe a bit of a control freak, and just like you needed that control, and on this project you've just really let your friends just take over, and I think good for you. Good for you. It's
Yeah.
you're getting some really cool stuff out of it for sure.
Yeah, thanks. And again, like, if we had some sort of extremely strong, like, aesthetic sense, like, as stage presentation or whatever, or look of it, but we don't. So I was like,
Hmm.
let's the other people. I mean, come on, like Miss Meatface. Look, we know her. Let's
Yeah,
make it happen.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's yeah,
So
that was a really cool one. I really like that a lot. How would you say you guys have been together as a band now for 10 years, right?
yeah, yeah.
How has your sound evolved over the last decade?
Well, I mean, okay. So I think that it's become our own sound. I know that
Hmm.
sounds like answering the question with the question, or answering the answer, but really, I think, if I were to summarize it, as I feel like probably over the years we we have our own sound, and that means that I think in the past we might have been, um, looking to sound like something,
Hmm.
or make a move to, oh, this should sound more goth, or this should sound more post punk, and I think over the years we've cared less and less about that, and I think that's what's allowed us to sound like ourselves.
Hmm.
Is that a weird answer? I
No,
don't
I
know
think
if I'm
that
saying
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you've just taken the last decade to really like craft your sound. I just think it's an interesting answer because some of the favorite tracks that you mentioned off the new album are kind of going away from your sound, or just like your sound, but
right.
like in a new sense. But maybe that's it, right? It's just like a constant evolving thing.
Well, I told you, I can only speak for myself in the band. From my experience, is that a lot of this is geared towards that. I don't have a high attention span, so I'm always on to the next thing. And and I'm hoping that kind of manicness has led to something, take some creative risks and also allowed us to do whatever we want,
Hmm.
so it's funny because we're writing some new stuff and I'm like, oh, this is the stuff.
Right.
so, so, and I might be wrong or right about that, but at least that's the exciting journey for me with this band, is that I have like-minded people that, I don't think any of us really listen to the same music, which is pretty funny. So I'll be like, oh, we should do something like this. And then, it was interesting for Jason as an outside person for us to individually describe what we thought the song sounded like to him. And he goes, you guys are all wrong. It's wild. So I'm happy with that as my journey.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And then another quote that I got was that I think as a band, you all attributed New York City to have like really shaped the sound and cultivated it.
Yeah.
What is it about New York City that did that?
Yeah, it's interesting because I'll just first state that we do get asked a lot about New York City as a place. I mean, I guess probably for obvious reasons, because it's a famous city and also, its reputation. But sometimes it's hard to describe. But I do say that there is a sort of a pace here and it's actually kind of what I was saying about myself, a sort of low attention span. People here are not easily impressed and not, it requires a certain amount of kind of attention and grit and, all these kind of tropes about the rat race and you can make it there anywhere. I do think there's some truth to that. So whatever that kind of manic energy is here, I think it just gets in the music, and it's definitely not a conscious thing, but I do think it must, right? And I mean, it's a weird question because I do almost feel invisible to it, right? I'm the frog in the boiling water here, so I couldn't tell you what the temperature is. I could just tell you it's boiling,
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, I do think that there is a definitely not. I don't find our music very laid back.
There is a sense of urgency to it, especially on the new album. And I think maybe if those like more electronic songs that you're talking about, there is that sense of like there's a driving beat. I get it. I was just like I couldn't put it into words. I was just wondering if you could. I think you did though. You did for sure.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because whenever I'm asked about this question, I feel like I'm in a fugue state all of a sudden. I'm trying to like just like grab words out of the air, because it's not a tangible, empirical answer. It's vague to myself. So but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it's just something that like if you've been to New York City, you get it. I've only been once, and that was actually 10 years ago that I was in New York City, but it's unlike anywhere. I've been fortunate enough to like be well traveled and have been all over Europe and North America, not so much, but I've been to a lot of places, and New York stands out so much to me. Just everyone's like in a rush or going somewhere, and it's like almost like like you said, like ADD-esque.
Well, it's like I went to Tokyo a couple years ago, and everyone's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna warn you, it's really intense and it's really big." And I went there and I was like, I can handle this. I'm used to this. This is the speed I'm used to, and that's not to. I don't, want to. Tokyo is its own, personality as a city, but it just as far as that kind of manicness and whatever individuals as a crowd, that whole kind of there's a lot better people that have explained the character of New York City than myself, so I would just defer to them and say it's true.
Yeah. So I know the name, the band's name came from a Burroughs book. Which one was it?
So this gets misattributed all the time.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's a book called Gotham about New York City. So yes, that's the book.
Okay, that's the one.
And it's sort of an unremarkable story. It's just because Ali and I had actually moved from the West Coast to New York to do the band. And I don't know, I was just reading the book and I was like, hey, that's a good name. And we kind of also liked that we found out was a double entendre for S&M. So,
Mhm.
there's always, that's kind of fun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's totally acceptable. It's so funny the amount of bands that I interview and so many times expect there to be some crazy story as to why they have a band name. And most of the times it's just like, oh, we just thought it sounded cool and went with it. It's
Yeah.
stuck.
Well, I mean, come on, man. The amount left over is tough.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You'll just be like, there's a band already named this in like Kansas and they're a karaoke collective. You're like, holy shit, man. Like, so.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, that's all the questions I had about the album. So we're just coming to the end of this. This is just general music stuff now. How do you go about finding new music?
Oh man, this is the question I always fear. I don't. I'm
Okay.
really bad at it. It's funny because I am the resident stuck in my way guys in the band. The way I find new music is I ask Barrett and Ali. That's
Okay.
the way I find it. So I'm probably the least qualified person to talk on this subject. So I always defer this question. But the truth is, I'm pretty much just a person who. It's not to say that I think have a wide musical taste. I like a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty lazy. I just let them do the legwork.
Okay. What have you been listening to the most, would you say, throughout COVID?
All right. This is another question. Steely Dan is the answer to that question.
Steely Dan.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's funny because I can feel the eye rolls coming from my bandmates when they hear this, but I'm not gonna lie to you. That's what I've been listening to.
Okay.
It is very relaxing, and I don't know if it's if I don't want anything controversial right now, and I don't know. It's a nice smooth roll for me through the quarantine. And I'm trying to lean into that late 70s, early 80s, who gives a fuck summer vibes to try to calm myself down. Hence
Gotcha.
the beer, and everything else. I'm just trying to. This is the fucking year, so I think.
Right on. Are you going to keep the beard for the next little bit, you think?
I don't know. I know it's a thing to have a quarantine beer, but I'm like, I got nowhere to go. I've never tried it out, so.
Yeah. Oh, it looks good, man. You can grow a good beard.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a surprise to everyone, including myself.
Is there anyone like a contemporary musician or band that you've been introduced to that you're really into right now, like an up and comer?
You know what? No. Well, okay, that's not, and that's not to say. Well, I mean, the list is too long from probably 2018 to 2019. A lot of them and I don't want to leave anyone out. There was just so many good bands that we toured with through those years that were fantastic. So I feel like I'm going to get in trouble if I forget somebody, but just go ahead and check out anyone we're friends with or constantly refer to, because they're all great musicians. And I've had the great benefit of, speaking of being introduced to music, because I am lazy. A big benefit of that is they'll often show to a show, meet these wonderful people, and then they'll go out on stage and totally kick ass. So
right.
it's like kind of I don't know. It's a nice experience for me. So yeah, I wouldn't want to leave anybody out.
Okay.
Because I'm on the Steely Dan summer kick, so I have too many friends involved, but it's a pretty easy thing because actually. We do Spotify playlists on kind of a regular basis as a band.
Okay.
And if you want to check out anyone we think is great, just go ahead and look at that.
Cool.
That would do a much better job of me stumbling.
Awesome. All right. Is there a genre of music that you love or secretly love that people would not expect you to be into at all?
Well, probably the Steely Dan is the secret.
Right on.
I think I just ran right into that punch. But, I'll be. I know it sounds like something that's pretty. People just say this all the time, but I just love all music. I've never heard a genre of music that I haven't found at least a great song from.
Right.
But obviously it's post-punk. Obviously it's punk, and anything in the wheelhouse of the '80s is near and dear to my heart. Growing up in it, I love a lot of '70s stuff outside of the easy listening lane as well.
Right.
David Bowie is a huge person in my life. Getting me as a young man into music. So. So I like all the stuff from the 1960s classic rock lane to probably all the things people would assume I like anyways and do like.
Okay.
So everything else, yeah.
Cool.
That was a long way of saying nothing.
That's fine. That's why this is a podcast. That's totally fine.
Okay.
If you weren't making music, what would you be doing with your life?
Oh man. I don't know. I had ambitions as a young man to draw comic books.
Okay.
I don't know if I would have cut it. I don't know. Maybe movies, some capacity. I love movies. I love film. I love anything visual, actually, really. So anything there, maybe I would have done.
Okay. What's the best last movie you watched? First one that comes to mind.
Best last movie did I watch? Oh, I thought Extraordinary was good.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that was the movie I watched like last week, and I thought that one surprised me because the trailer looked quirky, but it was fun. It surprised me. Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
I just took a browse through your Instagram and I saw, which I thought was really cool, that this weekend, I'm not sure when this is going to come out, but I think it's still something worth talking about because it's for a good cause. The Goths for Sanctuaries, the animal rescue fundraiser. Tell me about that.
Well, they reached out to us and asked us if we could submit something for it. So actually, from that we basically did a mini concert at St. Vitus, so you can actually watch us do Nostalgia Void as a live track.
Cool.
And and just whatever. I mean, that's the way people hang out now, and it's awesome that it's going to animal sanctuaries. Animals are near and dear to my heart. I have dogs and cats, and I'm an animal person, and we actually all are. So it's a worthy thing. So if you're gonna be on Twitch or watch the live music, why not throw a couple dollars, or actually pounds, I guess, since it's in England. But we're supporting Badass Animal Rescue, which is a rescue here for dogs.
Cool.
Go have a couple of drinks online and donate some money for the
Sweet
dogs and cats.
Wicked. And that's just happening over the weekend?
Yeah, it started tonight. Tonight's a DJ night, but it's going Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and actually through Monday. So
cool.
It's a long event, so there's plenty of stuff to catch.
Wicked. Awesome. Yeah. Well, Panther, man, thank you so much. That's everything I wanted to know.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, thanks. This was a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, you too. I appreciate it.